Florida State, little spring intel, a little bit of scrimmage intel here. Now, Mike Norvell is locking it down out there. There's no media access allowed, from what I understand, during spring practice. Still getting some good intel, getting some good buzz based on having our ear to the ground over there. Gus Malzahn, going to be your new OC. We had Mike Norvell on the show not that long ago, and he talked about hiring him, what made him the right fit. Mike Norvell originally was working for Gus Malzahn when he first got into coaching. So you wonder, okay, well, a guy who you used to work for is now working for you. How's that whole thing going to formulate? What I've been told is it is Gus Malzahn's offense, but there is also a great amount of influence from Mike Norvell. But Mike Norvell is not taking the sticks away from Gus Malzahn and trying to do his job for him, if that makes sense. They feel really good about their working relationship. Seems like it's very complimentary so far. They went in their past scrimmage here, 60% run, 40% pass, which is about what you're expecting from Florida State here in 2025. Gus Malzahn's been very clear. We're not going to reinvent the wheel here, dude. We're going to get in our bag. We're going to do it at a very high tempo. We're going to pound the rock, and that's going to pretty much be what we do. It's not going to be a whole lot of trickeration, not going to be a whole lot of smoke and mirrors. We're going to play our game, stick to what works, and that's going to be that. Thomas Castellanos, obviously, will be your quarterback here in 2025, Boston College transfer. I think with him transferring to Florida State, a lot of Seminole fans are like, cool, he tore us up, but also he transferred out of Boston College, and it wasn't like Boston College was a college football playoff team. Help me understand why this is the guy for us. Sounds like when he was at Boston College, they ran an offense that was very much so a NFL style of system from a one Bill O'Brien. And there's nothing wrong with that, but, Thomas Castellanos isn't your prototypical NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he can't still have a career on Sundays if that's how it ends up working out for him, but he's a guy that is a tremendous runner of the football, does great when he has some ad-lib potential. I think he does great when he has options on the field. He's not a guy that's going to sit back there, do a three-step drop for you, stay in the pocket, and just be a statue. Like that's not his game. And so with how it shook out at Boston College, the feeling is they didn't really do a lot to cater the offense to Thomas Castellanos' skill set. That's the absolute opposite of what they're going to do here in 2025 in this Gus Malzahn system with him running the show. So I told you, run the football, going to be a part of this. But when you speak to the passing game, I went out and got a baller in Deuce Robinson from USC. His skill set speaks for itself. And if you go watch what he did at USC, I think that there's enough tape there to get you excited. Also what he was as a recruit, dude's an absolute ball player. He's a worker, has been the report on him. He is a guy that is setting the temperature in that wide receiver room. They expect him to be wide receiver one. He's leading the charge in that wide receiver room, which I think is a good thing. Anytime you got a guy who operates the way that Deuce Robinson operates and brings everyone up to his level, that would get me fired up. Had a big play early in that spring scrimmage. So I think a lot of it will be, we talked about how the offense is going to be broken down. I think a lot of it will be run to pass, safeties creep up, over the top, Deuce Robinson makes some plays. So they're excited with him. They're encouraged by him so far with what they've seen from the USC transfer in that wide receiver room. Now, speaking to the scrimmage, though, the defense won the day. It's always tricky to totally diagnose a spring scrimmage as a college football fan because you're playing against your own team. So if the defense played great, you're like, well, what's wrong with the offense? Offense lit it up. Hey, what's wrong with the defense? Defense won the day, but the offensive line is a little bit dinged up. You're trying to mix and match a combination of guys and trying to get it all going the right direction. Even with that being said, there's some cautious optimism around what the D-line will be in 2025. They allowed 5 yards a carry in 2024. So, again, you can't pin too much of an expectation on one scrimmage in the spring. But if I'm a Florida State fan, I'm sitting here saying, man, how much worse can it really get? We really going to be worse than 5 yards a carry? We'll take cautious optimism. We can work with that all day. Now, new DC along with new OC, you got DC Tony White in from Nebraska. I still think he's a future head coach. I'm really excited what he's going to be in Tallahassee. They feel like he has been a smash hit so far. They love the way that he connects with the players. They think he's a great communicator. Players can relate to him. Been a smash success there. Kids love him. The second part of this, though, that I think is maybe a little more interesting if you're a Florida State fan as it pertains to what you're going to see on Saturdays, there's a totally different philosophy for a one Tony White on defense than what you saw the previous season at Florida State. Last year, your scheme was very much so keep it all in front of you, we're going to play a not conservative defense, but we're going to make sure that we're not getting ourselves beat on the big play. That was the approach schematically. Now, did it happen that way? Not all the time. Tony White's like, hey, let's risk it for the biscuit. Let's be deceptive. Let's be aggressive. Yeah, it might be a couple of plays where we get got, but we're going to make sure we get ours more than we get got, though. To shout out Marshawn Lynch there. So that's kind of the tempo they're trying to operate with defensively. I'll say this much. I think it's probably a fun defense to play in. Pair that with what I said at the top of this thing. There's buy-in from the players to Tony White. I don't know if that was the case last year, watching what happened for Florida State on the field. Because last year, I don't know that it was really a talent level thing for Florida State. Now, was it college football caliber playoff talent like we thought it would be? I mean, no. But I don't think it was enough talent to where you were just outmatched against some of those teams you lost to. Not to knock on anybody else in the ACC, but Florida State, I think, still has the talent with this scheme, with the buy-in. I think there's a lot to be encouraged by through a few practices in Tallahassee. So far, so good through a few practices and a scrimmage out there for the Noles.